Alright guys, here we're going to talk about Season 2, Episode 4 of Iron Fist.
So, Walker.
Yeah, we got more with her.
Lots with Walker.
I guess this episode might be the best so far of the four we've seen.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's amazing yet, but
No.
if we are on a rise, I can see how people might say this season has gotten so much better. We'll see exactly where it goes. We've a lot to unpack in this episode.
So again, a lot of people have said, "Oh, the season was great. You guys really knocked it out of the park. Things were dodgy season 1. Defenders was a little off. Now this is great." And we were 3 episodes in, being like, "I don't know, bro. It's gonna be a yikes for me, dog. I don't know what's happening."
Yeah.
But now, yeah, I would agree, right? So much like when you watch a movie, you might forgive and forget the first 20 minutes being like, "Oh, we're just talking
exposition.
and doing whatever," right? Yeah, you know, in like a 10-episode season, if the first 3 episodes are kind of like nothing or weak or like whatever, there's good parts, but it's not like, wow, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So, yes, there's a cold open where Walker has apparently defeated Danny, drags him away. I make a note here, like, cinematography seems to be upped. Like, the lighting in the subway and the stuff and the angles, I was like, oh, this is
They
good.
haven't pulled a lot of these things off in recent memory, so, like, I had the real quick check. I'm like, wait a minute, did I accidentally, like,
yeah, right.
like leave it playing and leave the room or something?
Right.
And after I saw I didn't, I'm like, okay, so it's going to backtrack onto this.
I may have done the same thing, yeah.
I was like, okay, it's gonna open and close this with the same scene. That's how it's gonna work, and then it did do that, and I thought that worked. I when it first started, so before, like, when the first open, it's in the middle. You don't really see the setup of it, and I was like, where in New York is there a like dark, unpopulated like?
I think it's the PATH station.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I was like that felt really weird to me, like, because.
Oh yeah.
There's always people there, and I'm like, and they're never dark. And then, like, when it picks back the second time, you're like, okay, the power just got blown on everything because
he just shockwaved.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling it the shockwave attack.
Sure, that works. But yeah, so that set up. I'm okay, so it's not actually dark because they're the brightest rooms in the world usually.
No, and it's like a weird. Yeah, you wouldn't be like, and like I think the train has left by then or something. And
Train
you're
was
like,
passing
what
in
is
the
that?
middle of it.
There's like sparks flying, and you're like, what is happening? Yeah, because again, like you'd be like, well, Walker shouldn't be able to do that unless there's a lot that I don't know about Walker, right? It's a nice cold open that made me go like, okay. And then later, I don't know how.
It did kind of wind, like it didn't hold that note for a little while, but it built back up to it.
Yeah.
So
you want to get through Danny?
Let's
Danny and Colleen are debriefing about their ambush. They go visit Mrs. Yang again for no reason because we had to leave and come back. I'm very critical of the pacing of this.
It does cut right to the next thing. He's talking about the ambush and stuff, and I thought I didn't see who they were, this and that, blah blah blah. He's talking about the ambush the other day, but I was like, wait a minute, did this poorly cut from that? I'm like, is he talking about that? Because a lot of how they were talking lined up where I was like, oh, wait, maybe I'm an idiot and this is that. I was like, oh, no.
I thought I saw someone, right? So you're like, wait,
no. You didn't see her. I'm like, she was right there.
Yeah, so it didn't do like earlier that day or something, right? So
which I'm okay with. It's just because it's semi-lined up with what was happening. I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like, oh, no.
But they go visit Mrs. Yang. Mr. Yang's in a coma.
Yes.
We get some rich big
It's not really a
house.
coma. He's in
she calls it that, I think.
Yeah, she's an idiot. He's just like bedridden or.
Yeah, he had like a stroke, I guess. Yeah. So he's like catatonic or whatever you want to call it. Whatever the medical term is. Whatever. There's talking. Hancock 212. Danny goes in there and gets the lead about like what are we doing here. Then they leave, right? This is like the weakest part of the episode, I feel like. The machine starts beeping. They leave.
Yeah,
She's
what
like,
did you do to my husband?
What did you do? And he's like, nothing. By the way, I know the answer to, okay, goodbye. And then they leave, and then Misty's there. And then we have to talk to Misty for a while, which I was not a huge fan of.
It did seem like a moment where he would have been like, he just told me this. He told you what? He knows who did this? Like, it seemed like it should have been a moment that like brought them together. But the way they handled it, it was a dividing mark where you may have murdered my husband.
He said, like, ma'am, your husband just spoke to me. And she was like, get him out of here. And I'm like, wait, what? No. And like, again, I get it. And these things don't really ruin anything for me or bother things like for me that much. But like, it's like a disappointment or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is how movie logic works, but I hate that because in real life, you're like, wait, no, let's talk about
I want to know everything my husband ever said ever, like, period.
Right. You don't go like, just go. That's the name of the trope. That's going to be a chapter in my forthcoming book about media is just go.
Yeah.
In every romantic comedy, no. Wait, I can explain. Just go. That's horrible.
You've done enough.
You've done enough today. And he's like, fine, and like leaves or whatever. And that's days go by. No one's like, by the way, okay, I don't know. Maybe people are like that, but we're not like that. I don't know.
People like to just be angry.
So Misty unveils, right now it's the other end of that, where it's like, hey, that was an undercover cop. You put him in the hospital. The people you saw outside were not...
they were cops.
More whatever, right? That was like the she calls it something, like a follow team or whatever, and they were going to like bust everybody, and you ruined everything or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And he did do that.
He did ruin everything.
And in line with most every, hero trying to do the right thing and fucking up.
Yeah.
It just makes perfect sense. Sure.
Well, and I like it honestly because after last episode, where like he sees people outside, but then he fights people inside, and then everyone's
it
whatever.
was confusing
like,
to
what's
us.
going on?
So it was nice to get that covered up.
Yeah. So it kind of honestly, I kind of like that something's like explained or whatever. That something.
Sure. No. That I had no issues with that at all. Actually, yeah.
So Danny goes to like clear his head. There's more dialogue and something. It's fine, whatever. I don't like when people talk. Just punch each other.
Yeah.
No, that's not true at all. that's the opposite, honestly.
No, there's a lot of Danny's though dialogue stuff annoys me most of the time. So like for him, I'm like, yeah, go punch things. Like
yes, okay.
Like Jessica, you go talk some more. Like things like that.
No, exactly. I mean, it's not.
They
like
have their strong suits. He's a kung fu fucking guy.
I guess that's what I mean to say is. I don't feel that way about everything all the time. I just felt that way in that moment where I was like, "Oh my god!"
No, I agree.
So he goes like, "I have to get some air. I have to clear. I have to get some headspace." I think is what he said. And the embassi's like, "All right," and he just leaves. He goes outside and just fucking leaves. He just runs away and goes to like follow his lead or whatever. Which I'm like, "Oh, what a twist!" or something like that.
Every part of that part, from Davos to him eventually getting there in like the train car-y area. I was like, this part is weird and dumb.
Yeah. So I guess we can just talk about it all then. Davos goes to the docks, the warehouse or whatever. He like Steven Seagal's a bunch of people.
And like that's a very accurate way of describing it because it was almost just like jokily bad.
He walks up to the people like, "Hi." And does everything. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That funny. One guy, like, he like chokes him. He's like, okay, he's gonna pass out, and then he snaps his neck. And I'm like, why didn't you snap his neck immediately? Why did you like choke him for a while?
Well, that was the thing where he like was just like casually walking right, until he was right behind the guy. I should have liked it more. I remember being like, this is fine.
But I don't care for the Davos character, so I think a lot of things he does, I think, are like, eh.
I think I hate this Davos character. Good time.
I don't know. It's the way he's written. I'm not super big into him. But then the actual guy playing him, I don't like him very much either. He's I don't know.
He rubbed me the wrong way in the first season or like earlier work where he was been featured. I'm not sure if he was in the Defenders or not anymore, honestly, because this whole thing of like just that conversation about the pizza really stuck with me, where like. The night nurse is like, "This is the best slice in the city," and he's like, "This is poison. Like we can't eat this or whatever." This whole thing where I'm like, okay, like he's a fish out of water. That's okay. I hate you, but I should hate you because you're like, this is barbaric. We can't do this or whatever. I'm like, all right, great or whatever. And now, I don't know. Well, we'll get more into that because what's in the container? What's in Hancock 212 is a mummified Iron Fistman.
Yes. Like potentially the guy from the video.
Exactly.
He's in the actual outfit.
He's wearing the costume.
Yes. So Davos takes his skin that is like he cuts a circle where the tattoo is, and he took his mask, and he leaves. So now when Danny finds the thing, he's just like a guy in like a green robe or whatever. So it doesn't trigger him like who he is or what he is. The mask is not there. The tattoo is not there.
I didn't catch that the mask wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually explain it, I actually rewound to make sure. I thought it wasn't there. And I was like, Danny has no idea, right? No idea. Rewind. He does have no idea.
Okay, that's the difference. You were like, wait, Danny has no idea. That's weird. I was like, of course, Danny has no idea. Why would he put anything together or know anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to make sure that my suspicions were correct on that one. Yeah. That might be the first time that I've ever gone back to check something.
In like anything ever?
Yeah, I think so.
I will pause more often than I will. I started keeping the remote nearer to my hand or something. Sometimes something happens and I'll be like, what am I looking at? What the fuck is this? All right, and I'll hit play or whatever. But I say that way too much. So let's put a pin in that. Davos has a skin flap.
Yes.
What's happening, right?
And the mask.
But meanwhile, Joy and Davos are talking to Walker still in the apartment, right? The episode ends with Walker having like short swords to like Davos's neck.
Yes, and now they're away.
Well, yeah. So we were like, how's that going to resolve itself? And it resolved itself by them cutting to that not happening anymore. So there's no standoff. They're just like
Joy going through her shit.
They're just doing this and being like, okay, let's go over it one more time. And they're just like talking to her from like across the room now. It's fine.
Yeah, Joy says to Davos, all right, I got this. If she was going to kill me, she was already going to kill me. Fuck you, something, something, something. And I'm like, that's not how life works. Sometimes people just kill you. You have no, what?
Well, and like, why? Okay, I don't want to nitpick, but that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Me, the defenseless businesswoman, relatively speaking, defenseless businesswoman, should be left with the assassin. You, the ex-warrior monk, Kunlun, master chi man or whatever, can leave, because if she was going to make a move, obviously she would have done it already. That's the most illogical thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Not only is it illogical that like if she hasn't made it, she won't make it. You could think maybe she wouldn't make it around this person who could actually fight her.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Even though it seemed like she could have killed him easily if she wanted to, because he'd be dead already.
Right.
I hate that thing. Or like, but even if it wasn't him holding her back, sometimes people just snap and go, you know what? Now you have to die.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And actually, that's kind of what happens. Joy pokes around her apartment. I actually am warming up to the Walker character. I like her delivery on lines like, I need you to stop touching my things, or whatever. I like stuff like that, where I was like, okay.
I have not warmed up to the character.
You hate this character.
I don't. It's mainly because I hate any time that someone just goes, this character is the most badass thing ever. And then it's
sure.
Where I don't feel like the justification was there. I need more knowledge. Even if you were to say like, oh, like she did train with Stick or whatever, like she doesn't look like a person that should be doing the things she's doing. Yeah. Nah, it's like.
No, I get it.
It's something that annoyed me in everything when they make a character really strong, and they're like, look, here's this character lifting this 2-ton I-beam. But then, like, in other scenes, I'm like, they're carrying their purse kind of like with a straight arm, like it's heavy.
Okay.
Like,
yes.
and I get that kind of vibe from this person where I'm like, yes, you will display these things, but then, like, it seemed like you had a little struggle to push that door open. Like,
no, so I feel like when you have multiple personalities, especially, what really sells that, I'm going to mention James McAvoy in Split.
Sure.
Is you need someone who, like, it's not like they auditioned to be one personality and then you said, oh, by the way, you have to play other ones, but we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, you have to audition all of them.
You have to nail, like, all of them or something like that. And I thought as Mary, she really, like, nailed it. And as this, kind of like you're saying, I'm not as into it.
I wasn't even into her Mary. Her Mary, I
personality.
thought, was a cue card character.
Well, no, but, like, I wasn't,
You mean
like,
believable?
I wasn't like, this is a fake character. I was like, this is a character on a TV show. It's fine. Her character's weird, but she's got weird stuff going on or whatever. But this, I wasn't like that's the real strength of these things is when someone does the turn and now, because like, okay, like imagine if we got really nitty gritty with this and we could have it be like one of the personalities pretending to be the other personality, right? Would you even notice? How would you even tell?
No.
Like it doesn't make sense anymore.
I've been trying to stare at her eyeballs.
Yes.
Because I thought there was a thing where her eyes changed when
Yeah.
she changed, but I've not been able to confirm that.
So my little button here is Walker is dichromatic or whatever the fuck. She has two different colored eyes.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that until this episode. So I had the same thoughts where I was like, wait, has that always been the case? What's going on? Is Mary in her eyeball? What's happening?
Yeah. So that's something I'm going to keep a better eye on, pun
Right.
intended.
Oh, keep your eyes on that.
We'll see.
So Joy goes through all of her stuff. She finds discharge papers that are just like
Yeah.
shoved in
Why
between.
is she like? Who would ever be okay with someone going through shit like this? Like, and I know
Yes.
she's like, you have to stop going through my like, but like,
Yeah.
honestly, like, who thinks it's okay and who would allow
So
this to
weird.
happen?
Yeah.
It's like my mail, my books, like everything. You're just going
Yeah.
through it, like you're running through the order of everything. Like,
So it came off like a power move, but it came off like a move you would do if someone had something and wasn't giving it to you, but they're there to ask her why she gave something to someone else in the past already.
Yeah.
So it didn't really make sense from that perspective. We're being very nitpicky, but I like it a lot.
no, but there's a lot to pick
There's
on
a lot.
this.
There's a lot to pick apart.
There's a lot of nit to pick on this.
Yeah, because while it's happening, it's just this train like barreling through. But if you like freeze frame it, you're like, oh, wait a minute, the train's not touching the tracks. Nothing's happening. The train's empty. It makes no sense. Why is this happening? It's all to get her riled up so she can chokehold Joy, right?
More or less, yes.
And then they kind of break out of that. They have an exchange, and she says, "Don't worry, I can take care of this whole thing." And it's apparently happening today.
Yeah, at that moment.
Right.
Which was an apt time that they did need a distraction based on what was happening with Davos. You need Dany tied up for at least a little bit, and I think you did get that.
Well, and they need to kidnap Dany to get him to this,
Yes.
like the ritual or whatever, which I guess we should talk about now.
So
'Cause it's back to the present.
they're fusing that tattoo to Davos's back using some magic and bullshit.
I love everything about this. I'm sorry to cut you off, but oh my god. The whole time, I'm like, are they just going to sew the patch of skin to Davos? Like, what's happening? And then they're like burning it, and then they're like taking Dany's blood and mixing the ashes of the burned tattoo with Dany's blood. Yeah, and then they're tattooing that, and his tattoo looks different. So I was like,
his is the snake.
It's like a serpenty thing. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I can't wait. But then it all kind of gets ruined for me because he goes to Dany and says, now I'm going to take from you what's owed to me or whatever, right? And I go, wait, I thought you were going to get your own fist or like the Iron Foot maybe or something.
Yeah, I wasn't sure based on him taking the, like, is he also going to have the power or is he solo going to have the power? And even so, I guarantee Davos becomes a master of it instantly, while Dany took seasons to learn. Well, Davos has been. Times.
Davos is the Hermione of this thing. He's like the book smart Kunlun person. He's gonna be all over it. He's even yelled at Dany like, "You waste this power. You're an idiot. What are you doing? You're making noodles. Get out of here. What are you? Shareholders. Fuck no."
Yeah. So we'll definitely have some interesting things here.
Go ahead.
So this is going to rival potentially a Luke Cage thing where there's now there's another strong guy. I'm not as strong. We'll see how that goes.
What if Davos gets the fist and Dany loses the fist?
Then we'll learn that the power was inside you all along. What if he need the power?
What if he can fist without his fist? That makes no sense.
I think something might happen like that.
Did you think for a second when they start knifing his abdomen that they were going to cut Dany's tattoo off too?
No.
Oh, okay. Why not?
It didn't seem like a thing that was going to happen.
I figured. It was confusing, though, a little bit. I'm not sure what the ritual was supposed to do. I really love the idea of them taking the old tattoo and, like, Dany's blood to make a new tattoo that gives Davos other powers or different powers or similar powers.
I think I would like him to have the power also.
Yeah.
I think seeing him steal that mask originally and like foreshadowing what I thought when he cuts the tattoo off and he takes the mask, I was like, okay, so he's gonna get the power. That was my thought right then. I was like, and with the mask, he's gonna do things and they're gonna blame Dany because he's gonna be doing things that only Dany could do. And the mask is on, whatever.
Yep, that would have been great. The man with the glowing fist robbed a bank.
That potentially is not gonna happen. But we'll see.
No, I'm really concerned because like you're saying, if Dany loses it, then like it's him and Colleen with no powers, and no offense to them, but Davos is like brutal. Davos
was almost as good as him with the power.
He was yelling at Colleen for like not killing that guy, where he's like, "You're weak." Like he will not hesitate at all.
No,
this is not going to go well for them.
I do wonder about things, and this might be exactly how it does get better and better, and things happen, and we might get our cameo from another superpowered person to help him fight this person.
Exacto mundo.
We'll see exactly because like if ever there's a time to call in for help, it's when it's like I lost my power and a guy has my power.
Hey, promise you won't be mad, but I lost my powers.
Yeah.
Kind of screwed up some gang stuff downtown. I don't know. I mean, if you're not busy, could you maybe, I don't know.
Luke, are you bulletproof this week?
Are you still bulletproof? Do they have the magic bullets that break your bulletproofness? It's kind of awkward to say it now, but we have some more stuff with Ward and his sponsor.
Yeah.
He goes over to Joy, and he's like, I bought you that company and all that stuff. And, like, honestly, I liked this part of the episode arguably as much as, like, the weird kung fu ritual part of the episode, which is so dumb. But I
love the Ward character. You love everything about it.
And Joy. I love their interaction. I love them, going back to the history of the whole thing. He's like, I bought you a company. She's like, I hope you kept the receipt. And then she goes to her room and kind of cries a little bit, right? I was like, oh, man, this is such an interesting and complex relationship for these characters to have. And she's like, that's something Dad would do. And then she hits him with something. She says, like, stop making me a surrogate for Mom or, like, whatever, which I didn't quite get because I'm not aware of their history. But Ward's face and his, like, response to that, I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is an awesome thing that's happening. It doesn't belong in this show, I don't think, but I enjoy it that it's here.
No, it's decent. It's decent. My biggest what kind of moment was the idea that this ritual thing even back to ritual even existed?
Why is this even on the table?
Why is there that thing? Like why is there a how to steal this guy's power thing that is public knowledge enough for him and these 3 local witches or whatever to know?
The Crane sisters.
Because they're not from Kung Lung potentially. They're just like people.
Yeah, I think they're from the Hand. Like who would they be?
I would imagine they're from the Hand.
That's so weird. No, I totally agree because there's always a back door with a lot of this stuff where it's like on the full moon we can do this and we can do that and you're like what? Why?
Yeah.
Why would that be able to happen? That's why I thought, okay, we're going to take the tattoo, and we need blood for some reason to, like, kickstart the thing, and then you get a tattoo, and now you're the host.
Because you'd think if there's a way to do this, you would
Yeah.
take anyone who came in second and be like, okay, now we have 2 defenders, and always take dead people's tattoos off and give them to someone you want to have. Why leave it
Right.
just sitting somewhere?
Yeah, no, exactly, right, because everyone who fights the dragon gets a new tattoo. And so there's always someone that had a tattoo before who's presumably dead that you could do this ritual on. Okay, so he must just steal Danny's power now. But why does he need all this to happen to make him the host? And if he was going to take Danny's power anyway, why not capture him, take his tattoo, and take his blood, and do it all
I
from
think
him,
you
right?
need the blood of an active one.
And the tattoo of the previous one?
Well, you need a tattoo for it to work. And then
okay.
if you took the tattoo off, he wouldn't have it anymore, so he wouldn't potentially have the. I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
Just inferring and reading into
No,
things
no.
as
So like,
I see them.
I don't need to know exactly how it works, but I like to poke around with how it works and try to be like, wait a minute, because like the natural thing is like, well, why don't you just take a lot more blood and dilute it a lot and tattoo like 10 people and be like, we're doing this. We have the Iron Fist Brigade or whatever, the Iron Fist Corps.
They're the Iron Fingers because they diluted it too much, but they'll like eat
the
too
Iron
minute.
Fingers. Oh, that's amazing. On that note, I think that's our prediction, right? Iron Finger Brigade.
Iron Finger Brigade.
Nice.
That's pretty much everything that happens in this episode, right?
Yeah. No, that we are done with this whole thing.
Yeah. All right. So that's kind of everything that happened. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.